This is the opening statement for the plaintiff in the case of Ramirez versus the City of Chicago. This is not a criminal trial. There's already been a criminal trial, but this is a civil case. I'm not a public defender. The judge didn't assign me to represent Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez came to my office, we went over the facts, and I decided to represent him. This is a civil case. We are suing the City of Chicago because Mr. Ramirez was wrongfully shot by the police. There's two different stories in this case. The police say one thing, Mr. Ramirez says another thing, but there's a great many facts that support Mr. Ramirez's story. It's a verifiable fact that Mr. Ramirez is left-handed and that he does not speak Spanish. There's matters of the path of the bullet. He was shot in the right shoulder blade. It actually hit the shoulder blade and lodged in the bottom of his heart. Remember, the heart's a little bit to the left side in the chest cavity. And that he was struggling. Per the police testimony, he was stabbing downward. Officer Levy had both hands on his wrist, and he was pushing down with all of his might. And I'm sure Officer Levy was pushing back with all of his might, if that's the way it happened. But based on those facts, as we go through the testimony of the doctors later in the case, you will be able to see that the facts don't support the bullet entering the shoulder blade and ending up in the bottom of the heart. And so there's also questions of, you're not really supposed to fight with the knife this way. You fight with the knife this way. It's a little thing, but the officer said he had his arm raised to stab with the knife. There's other issues that we'll bring up, but one more thing I wanted to bring out about the knife. After Mr. Ramirez was shot, his supervisor, the supervisor of the police officers, showed up in a squad car, and they gathered up the knife. It's in the police report. They gathered up the knife, and Ramirez and Officer Levy took them to the hospital, went later to the station and put the knife into evidence. There's something important about the knife you need to watch for when we go through the police report about that. It will be interesting, and I think it will make my case, but we'll save that for later. It would be sad if Mr. Ramirez actually tried to kill a man just because he was driving down the road slowly. But it would also be sad if the police wrongfully shot a man and covered it up. And what would be worse is if they got away with it.